On my last theory, I delved into the importance of economics. In order for me to keep this video's flow going, please see that video first, as a reference to what I'm talking about here. Today, we will be continuing our excursion into government finances and possibly find out just what exactly kind of government is in place in the entire Pokemon world. We are going to be identifying how much a nugget is worth and using that standard to help closer identify the economic situation and possibly expose the New World Order of Pokemon in the Pokemon world. I know there is an Illuminati confirmed joke in there somewhere, but honestly, it really isn't a joke. What I have discovered in the Pokemon world may have you rethinking it. So sign in and make sure to comment below what you think as we go along. And at the end of it, if you can, give me a big thumbs up if I earned it. Teaching economics isn't my thing, but let's attempt to make this an interesting theory today. Again, please reference the previous video I did before on this so you're not confused, and so I do not have to repeat myself. In short, the last video I explained why the Pokemon world can't print its problems away with money, and how payday was such a short sum of money that someone would have to spend hours doing it to actively even make any kind of money. But this has posed several questions. Are there taxes in the Pokemon world? How much are gold nuggets worth and the amulet coin? Can we all just understand that everyone in the Pokemon world has a serious gambling problem? Whoever loses has to pay out half of their cash, and there are no banks for money. It's almost like the Pokemon world is governed by Las Vegas. And as much as that might be a joke also, it really seems almost true with how ridiculous the gambles on battles are. Did Joey really think it was a good idea to put half his paycheck on level 6 Rattata? But here is something even more ridiculous. If one of those individuals has a luck incense or an amulet coin, the loser has to pay even more to the holder of that item. I'm going to attempt my best to explain this. There are a few explanations, bearing in mind they are subject to how someone actually is willing to believe them, but let's attempt this. First, luck incense. The most realistic explanations I can come up with are that the smell makes the other person happy, or more willing to part with their money and give more for losing as they identify with the smell. Kind of like a spell, or how relaxers work. And if you think that's crazy, I mean, come on guys, we're talking about the Pokemon world. Next, the amulet coin. Well, this one is more of a reference than anything else. Many people who have gambled in the past have had lucky charm of some kind, and most of those individuals would use a coin. Just searching for lucky coin will yield tons of results, so be my guest. As far as I'm concerned, it is just a reference to that, and that reference can be taken literal in Pokemon battles. Now, on to what about gold nuggets and how much they cost. We are going to be using the 1998 reference period for this, since Pokemon was released in 1998, and you will understand why this is important later on. I could also use 1996, but we were talking about red and blue, not red and green. By the standard ounce of gold for 1998, it was roughly $300 an ounce. Gold standard ounces, not measuring ounces. For Pokemon, selling a nugget is worth 5,000 Pokedollars or $50 American. That would translate to nuggets being 1/6 of a gold standard ounce. In almost every version of Pokemon, no matter what region, this is the price, even though there are collectors out there that will pay double for them. I understand that if you don't get it yet, but that is 20 years worth of the same standard price. This is a bit odd, isn't it? But even more so is when you start to think about how each region pays the same exact price in the different years. Unova is based off of America, yet the nugget is still worth 5,000 Pokedollars. Same with Kalos, based off of France, 5,000 Pokedollars. And don't you distinctly notice something missing? Something that is a certainty as much as death in life? Taxes are missing as well. Yeah, you do buy and sell things without taxation. But Proto, wouldn't taxes just make the game silly? Yes, comment section. I am not so ignorant to understand that certain mechanics are not wanted or needed in games. Just look at doing laundry in The Sims. But even if we assume the taxes were included, that still doesn't account for the loss of value. A business could take a loss of the taxes on every product, but eventually they would go out of business. That is, if they were owned by the business person who was running the business, which may not be true. All of this combined together leads up to help answer what kind of government the Pokemon world has. Thanks to the Vermilion City, we know that people can create businesses, though the guy with his Machop stomping the ground never does finish doing that. But that doesn't mean the government doesn't own his land, or the business itself for that matter. Looking at Kanto and Johto, there are barely any vehicles or police. But there are large crime syndicates all over the place. Plenty of places are missing roads, some places are run down, and there is a distinct lack of jobs for anyone. Since there are no taxes to be paid, we can assume the government already owns everything, and the Pokemon Center is free, implying socialized medicine. This can lead only to a few conclusions. I feel that the Pokemon world's government is socialist. It would make sense as to why all the buildings are the same, why the distinct lack of jobs after so many wars, why crime syndicates exist. Looking at socialism, the Pokemon world lines right up with it. So here's socialism's definition, a rough definition. Socialism is the social and economic system characterized by social ownership and or social control of the means of production and cooperative management of the economy. Social ownership may refer to cooperative enterprises, common ownership, and state ownership achieved by nationalization, citizen ownership of equity, and or any combination of these. A socialist economy is based on the principle of production for use to directly satisfy the economic demand and human needs, and objects are valued by their use value, as opposed to the principle of production for profit and accumulation of capital. That kind of makes sense as to why certain Pokeballs cost more because of their use value, and full restores cost more even though Pokemon centers are free. Socialist governments own many of the larger industries and provide education, health, and welfare services while allowing citizens some economic choices. So in short, the government provides what the citizens need, and the citizens provide the government what it needs. It sounds really similar to what the Pokemon world goes through. No one really owns a business, no one really pays taxes, it just keeps going somehow. I also feel that there is an aristocratic society as well, as referenced by trainer classes like Rich Boy, which would imply some kind of higher class. Even in socialistic societies, there are people with quote-unquote more than others. This government type is dependent solely on those who battle Pokemon as a means to gamble and generate revenue, because without that, there really would be no need for money at all, since socialism takes care of the rest. No need for people to even work, which could explain the possibility of Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny all being clones and robots. And for those who do want to work, they can make extra money, or they can potentially be drafted into government positions like being engineers, war veterans, or gate guards. The entirety of the Pokemon world is socialism, and those that work in those large companies are just the corrupt remnants of a previous society, puppets for the socialistic society. One world government, the same currency from Unova to Kanto to Kalos, same rates, same results. But hey, I could be wrong. After all, there is evidence to support other government. One big one is the Silphco and Pokeball Factory takeover, along with the wealthy trainers. But I want to hear what you think. Leave a comment down below and let me know what type of government you think runs the Pokemon world. And if you are still signed in, remember to click that like button. Teaching economics and talking about potential governments is challenging. If you learned something from this or found this to be entertaining, just let me know by clicking the like button down below. Thanks for watching, and I've been your host Protomario, and I'm signing out. Good gaming, and God bless. Thanks for watching my video and making it to the end. If you want to see my theories a day early, make sure to head over to my Patreon, where donators get a day early viewing of my newest theories. And follow me over on Twitter to see my updates about certain videos and access to some cool unlisted hidden content as well. If you don't have Twitter, I am on Tumblr too, so be sure to check out my videos on your preferred social networks, or subscribe here on good old YouTube. I've been on YouTube for a while now, and I don't plan on going anywhere soon, so I hope you keep supporting me by liking the video and sharing it where you can on Facebook or Twitter or other forums as well. Thank you again for taking a bit of time out to support me, and I hope to see you here next time on Pokemon Theory. Please note that in all my videos, if I use images from Google, that I do not own any of those images, and all images obtained from Google are owned by their respective owners and copyrights. So please remember this when watching my Pokemon theories. Thanks.